in my past life. In Power, this humbled me, man, like you would not believe. I came in here thinking like, oh yeah, we have the same computer system. I came from a different company. I came from the big fish in the ocean, and I'm gonna just come in here and annihilate and make a name for myself. And it humbled me. It was so humbling because you just can't walk into a situation expecting to be like, I got this, because I didn't know anything in reality to win it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Beyond the Build, the podcast where innovation meets collaboration in the world of construction. We bring together thought leaders and industry experts to explore the cutting-edge ideas transforming construction equipment, supply chains, building materials, and workforce productivity.
This podcast is proudly brought to you by Faro, the revolutionary last-mile logistics platform, redefining how high-value, time-sensitive construction deliveries get done. Need it fast? Need it right? Faro.
Hey everyone, today we are joined by Lisa Jimenez, an outside sales rep at Sunbelt Rentals, where she plays a key role in providing equipment and support to the construction industry. With a career that spans across various roles in sales and account management, Lisa has developed a strong track record for driving growth and building lasting relationships with clients in a competitive and fast-paced market. Today, we're going to be exploring Lisa's approach to sales strategies, her take on creating high-performing teams, and how she's managed to succeed in the ever-evolving world of construction rentals. Lisa, welcome to Beyond the Build.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to learn a ton here, hopefully a little bit more about Scott. So if you've got any good Scott stories, Lisa, like that make him look stupid, that's really what I want to hear.
I need help doing that.
Oh, well, those ones I
in
don't
mouth.
have, but I do have some great Scott stories. I have great Scott stories.
Yeah, if you want really stupid Scott stories, you get my wife on the podcast. She's like, oh, she's got that she has two articles of clothing. One is I'm pre-apologizing for whatever he says, and the other one is an arrow that says I'm with stupid.
Nice. My favorite Scott story is the story of him meeting his wife. I will never forget that. That was the cutest story ever.
Yep, I won. I just had to ask her like 30 times to go out with me, but other than that, it's fine. To ask her for her to
Interesting.
commit.
So you put the salesman hat on.
That's the whole thing.
And win the wife. And that's good.
Yeah, it was cute.
Like Lisa said, cutting your teeth in the industry. How many times have you been into like a job trailer where there's just like, no, I've already got a sales rep. No, I'm using somebody else. Or it's always this, no. Even when you're like, I'm going to be here. I need to be here. I'm supposed to be here. Right? The story that you procure in there. And then you go in and you say two words and they tell you like, I don't need another rep. I'm good. And you're like, okay, how do I dig out of this one?
Yeah, that's pretty standard. It's different though now, especially being on the power side of things. I'm not so much job trailer driven as I am office driven. And I feel like as long as I can get my foot in the door and talk to the right people, even though they're going to have their companies that they deal with, I strive not to necessarily change their mind there on the spot, because they can say whatever they're going to say. It's when I actually get a phone call that I get to show them, and it could be for the littlest thing. It could be a situation of, hey, Lisa, I'm in a bind. I've got, a set of 5-wire banded pigtails, and it turns out that this panel is 400 amps and I need pigtails ASAP plus cable. And it's like, I got you. I'm on my way. Just tell me where to drop them. And those are the times that even though they may be a different vendor customer, they're going to come to me on the next one. And I think it's weird. Like it's changed more. So my relationships 100% are because of relationships versus company names.
Do you think that's because of the specialty side of the division that you're in?
It does make it a little bit easier. I think from doing both sides on sales now, because I started with, gen rents and forklifts and scissors and backhoes, and that was a struggle. But it was a different kind of struggle. It was showing up to a job site and there's already 6 or 7 pieces of equipment on rent. It's like, what am I supposed to do here? So you got to switch it up in your sales tactics and what you're thinking is like, okay, someone already is very well established. What is it that I'm going to bring to this table? What is it that I'm going to bring to this meeting that is going to even make them consider to not follow their normal cookie cutter path, it seems like, for rental equipment, needs and stuff like that. Versus now in power, I'm on the front side of things. So I'm there before they've even broken ground half the time. And it's you have to make And it's like almost the way I look at it now is kind of like harvesting. So I can do a quote a year in advance, and it literally takes a whole year for some things to come to fruition. And that's its own obstacle on its own, you know? You forget that you've made these quotes, you keep in touch with people, but unless you're like revisiting that same contract, that same quote that you made with that person, things can change, plans can change. And unless you have that relationship with somebody, and if there's somebody else that's just making that single phone call, you could lose an entire opportunity.
Yeah, and you know what Lisa's unpacking here is it's the difference between like situational selling and like um what's the word I'm looking for? Um immediate kind of transactional selling, right? Where you're there, you're hoping they need something and they don't need to buy right now. Where a situational is I know you're planning something and you're gonna need something, so let's work it out together. And this is, as you know, Lisa will back me up on this. This is the transition between the industry of the contractor and the suppliers, right? Because how many years have we been like, oh, well, that's just the rental company. There's tons of rental companies. I'll get a lift, I'll get a backhoe, I'll get whatever I need tomorrow, and I'll worry about it later, right? And now all of a sudden you think there's this huge amount of inventory. And what a lot of contractors don't realize is these rental companies, they're all about time utilization. They're like, we need to be north of 70% of our gear out of the yard. We're not a storage yard. So all day long, you're trying to figure out, how do I get it prepared? How do I get it out there? How do I get it back? How do I rinse, repeat? And so when orders come in, and at least this will be back when, like territory reps, it's like you're just fielding phone calls, and this is the rental. Like, okay, so a bomb went off. I got to basically fix everybody in the next hour before someone else dies. And it's this constant chaos where now when you're on the specialty, you're like, I get to see actually what's going on with this project a year in advance. What are you building? How big is it going to be? When do you start? How many man hours are you going to have? And now you're not just this vendor that provides a commodity, right? You're actually part of the process. And hopefully, at least you jump in here, is now you become a strategic partner with the contractor in the project rather than just another vendor that produces a commodity when needed.
Right, and that has been an area in my 20 years that I've never had before, and it's really exciting. It's like it's almost weird, like, I've kind of fallen what's the extreme? Like, fallen in love with the industry again because it's a different level of sales. It's a different level of need. So when I make those connections with people where we're pre-planning a job from literally before it even breaks ground, there's other avenues. It's not just, hey, this is the equipment you're going to need for standby while you're putting in your eyeline panels and your distro, and you're going to need power, right? Once that building is put together, what's your emergency plan? What's your back plan? What about when Edison shuts you down because of brownouts and PSPS, situations where the winds are blowing so hard, especially with the fires that we had at the beginning of the year? We're in completely new territory right now across the board of California in the event that, we just left our busy summer season, right? But now we're stepping into the Santa Ana wind season. So Edison is shutting down buildings and areas as soon as it starts to get gusts over 40 miles an hour versus before, I think it was a little bit more lax, like maybe around 50 or 60. So it's changing how it's just changing the dynamics of what the needs are going to be right now, real time. So it's exciting because you're putting plans together with people who you've always done business with, but now it's on a new level. So it's like you get to learn these people in a different way even. What's my backup plan for, say, a city? Yes, you guys have generators, but what are your first most important places? If you utilize your own pieces of equipment, where are those going to go? And then how can I help you on the backside? Everybody's switching to California. Everybody wants to be very green. So we have all these batteries now that have been brought into the rental industry, and it's completely new lingo. I mean, and when I say new, yes, they've been around for a couple years, but think about it. Like, how long have you heard of backhoes? How long have you heard of scissor lifts and forklifts? Now it's like the new thing is alternative power. You've got hydrogen that's going to be coming here in the near future, but currently right now we're working on like battery solutions, big lithium batteries How do we utilize these in a standard, 3-phase system? How can I power my business that's going to be pumping needs 300 amps during the day, but then at night we drop down to 15 amps at night. I don't want to run a generator 24/7. So how do I utilize this battery to make it cost efficient for me as the customer and also not ruin a tier 4 generator on the backside of that? You know what I mean? Those are the cool solutions that I'm like, I got you. Let's figure it out together. It's so exciting. It's exciting.
How would you rate yourself today in your role? And that's kind of a loaded question. I'm not asking you to be not asking you to be self-critical, but you've been in this industry a long time to know whether or not you're doing a good job. Sounds like you're doing a pretty bang up job. And I want to know that number first before I kind of ask some follow-up stuff to pry even deeper.
So overall, I would rate myself because I had 15 years in what I did prior. I would say that I was sitting a real solid around like 8.5, maybe 9. And I can
Yeah, so
say
you're
that
feeling like you're firing on like all cylinders. You're grooving.
in my past life, in
Yeah.
power,
Okay.
this humbled me, man, like you would not believe. I came in here thinking like, oh yeah, we have the same computer system. I came from a different company. I came from the big fish in the ocean, and I'm gonna just come in here and annihilate and make a name for myself. And it humbled me. It was so humbling because you can't walk into a situation expecting to be like, I got this because I didn't. I didn't know anything in reality to when it
Well,
came.
yeah, well, you can expect that, but it's the reality that
That's
judges
not
the
the
outcome.
case.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
How many pegs did you feel like you got knocked down? Did it bring you down to like a 6, a 5, a
Oh,
3?
dude, it brought me down to probably to a 5. And my tail was between my legs, and I talked to a lot of people, like the girl that got me into this job that I'm currently in. I had to sit down with her a couple times, like, holy man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, I don't know if I'm gonna cut this. I don't know if this is what I can do. She said, just give it time. Take your time, take the losses and learn from them. Whatever you do now, and you made a mistake here, that's okay. Like, remember it and grow from it. And doing that at 39, 40 years old was tough. Like, I'm a mom now, so I'm not used to them when I'm usually helping my kids and my regular life. Like, this is how you grow and learn children from your, well-established mom. Whereas I come to work and it's just like a dumpster fire sometimes, But it really took me, I would honestly say, about 3 years to truly start to just feel comfortable on the power side of things. It's so different. It's so different. There's so much to learn on a daily basis.
What what do you think was the key to success there? Was it just kind of just being persistent and just grinding and knowing that, hey, it kind of sucks now, but I'm just going to keep pushing and keep the pressure, and I'm going to trust that it will it will get better.
That's always the baseline for anything. Anything that I do, that has to be the baseline. This is all for a greater good. This is going to be for my future, and it's not just my future, it's for my kids' future. So the grind has to happen no matter what. The persistence has to happen, that we can't let go. That's just because of who I am. But what was the biggest challenge, I would say, would be to really take a step back and stop and listen. Like, I lean so heavy on my group. I lean so heavy on my technicians, young guys that are in their early 20s, have schooled me and actually taken the time to teach me things about the generators and the way that they work. Like, I mean, knowledge that I would never have even known ever, and unless I took special classes and stuff like this. But I've got a really solid group of people that are willing to, like, if I go out there and I'm asking them, hey man, I need your help. Like, Anthony, please, can you show me how on earth did you get 120 out of a 208? How is that even possible? And he's like, I'll show you. And those moments have truly changed just, I think, my desire to want to learn, and my appreciation for what we all do as a team, you know? Because I can sell something all day. I can talk to people. I'm personable. I can get in there and talk to the customer and get an order. But if I don't know what the hell I'm doing on the backside, why would they ever come back? And that 100% ties with my ability to connect with my team, because I'm nothing without them. I'm only as successful as my team back me, you know?
Yeah, and when LJ, what you're talking about is not only just like a job in sales, but I correlate this to the human experience, right?
Totally. Yeah. You
You
can't put a
mentioned,
price on that either. Like, there's other jobs where you can make more money and be like, whatever, just make a ton of money, but if your goal is money, do what you gotta do. But if you wanna really learn and get to know something well, you take the areas where you've made the mistakes, or if you've wronged somebody, and going and having a true conversation with people. That's been my biggest take, because I had a real big chip on my shoulder where I came from, I'm not gonna lie. And so meeting these people and allowing myself to, like, have to be humble. So, man, I made a huge mistake. I'm so sorry. I really hope that we can work through this. And can you show me? Because there's things that you do that blow me away. And I'd really like to know how I can make this work for all of us. Like, how do I make your day easier and also make mine easier too? You know, how do I fix this and stuff?
yeah, I mean, that's what it is about when you talked about listening and humility, and that resonates when all lines of business, all hierarchies and statuses within organizations. I mean, I remember when I was in rental, like, again, 2000, straight out of college, like, I didn't know half of the pieces of equipment, cat classes. I mean, how many deliveries did we used to get to put on where, like, drop this off? And I'm like, can I drop it off before they ask me how to use it? Because I have no idea what this does. And I'm hoping the person that's signing for it knows what they're doing, because I am zero help other than just the mule that got it to the location. That's all I did. That's all I did. And then what you start to figure out, you're like, it's more about just dropping things off and providing equipment. It was starting to understand, like, hey, how do you do this? I cut my teeth in underground first, underground pipe. Then I moved up to parking structures. Then I moved up, to different aspects of, you know, construction projects. But I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't swing a hammer. But when people would start to talk to me, like, hey, do you need a lift and a compressor for sack and patching on the walls that are coming up on the new structure? And they're like, yeah, do you know about that? And I'm like, yeah, I provide all the equipment. I've talked to them. And most people, they want to give their wisdom if asked appropriately and in the right time frame, right? You don't just get them when they're busy. They'll start talking about what they did on this project and how they did it, and then you're soaking up all of that knowledge. Fast forward 20 years, now all of a sudden people think, wow, like, you built all these projects, you understand all this. Lisa was talking about different phases of power and banded cable. People outside the industry is like, what's this chick talking about? Dude, I have no idea what any of she's things saying. But you're like, I've learned this through asking questions, capturing knowledge, and then figuring out how do I apply that knowledge to create value for others. But it starts with listening, and hopefully listening turns into humility. And then you talked about working as a team, because I'll get into this type of the conversation was there's two sides of rental, right? And we're talking about rental serving construction. So rental, there's the offense and then there's the defense, ops and sales, right? And I told the story one time. I had a bunch of reps, and Lisa and I are laughing because although you're on the same team, it's like you're at odds. Sales reps just want to promise everything and they don't know our capacity, and we're always trying to pull off the things they've overpromised. Sales is like, I'm giving you money. Just commit to the order and make it happen. Like, what is your problem? So I'm sitting in here and I've got like 30 sales reps, and we're doing an operational excellence side of thing. Like, how do we get better, more efficient, more deliveries on time, so on and so forth. When I come to this realization and I tell everybody, I'm like, okay, sales, you are like the torpedo officer in a submarine. All you want to do is hit the button and blow something up. We get it. But the problem is you're out of range. Okay? You're just blowing shit up in the middle of the ocean, giving away our position. So instead of just sending the torpedo out as many as possible, why don't you call up to the bridge and be like, hey, are we in range of our target? No. How much longer? Give me about 6 more minutes and we'll be in range. So now you have this, okay, the offense and defense can work together so that we can hit the target. And they were all just like kind of laughing. I'm like, that's not putting a negative light on either side of it. But I'm like, sales reps, know your range, right? Bridge, get them closer. So when we talk about what we do today, to your position, Lisa, is, you're doing a lot of basically emergency power. So
It's a combination of things. But yeah, that's
right.
big right now.
So
Yeah.
you do the setup, right? What is your backup plan, right? And you position that so, hey, we're going to need these standby generators. We're going to need 4 of them in case ... happens. They do it in the South all the time with hurricanes, right? First time I went down to Beaumont, ExxonMobil had 1 megs like on a highway, and I'm like, what are all these trailers empty? And they're like, oh, those are all on rent for standby. So that's one side. And then you have the other side going, oh crap, my building just went down. We have no power. How fast can you get me back up and moving? So then you got the emergency side.
It's definitely, I was thinking about this when you were talking a little bit earlier about how, the rush of the orders that come through when you're on GT and you've got someone that needs forklifts and scissor lifts and this and that. So I still have that. I feel like I still have that emergency. Everything is a fire, this and that. It comes in waves. But yeah, I feel like I just, I've gotten really good at operating through both into situations that we've been in lately, especially with the California wildfires that we have. Like this branch especially is just so they take everything in such stride. He just kind of it works itself out. So if I feel like I don't have a good enough handle on something, I've got backup. I know that I've got people that are like, okay, take a step back. What exactly is it that the plan of attack? Make it black and white. Make exactly what needs to happen right now, black and white, and start from there. And that was probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten from the manager that she just actually went into sales in Riverside, Yvette. She used to tell me all the time, make it black and white. What is the situation right now? They need power. Okay. When is it? They need it immediately? Yes. Okay. What size? What do they need? What are they powering? And then it's just those little steps, and that just gets the ball rolling, and you run with it.
So I'll just repeat what I said. So having backup is so critical because sometimes nothing feels worse than feeling like you are the last line, especially if you feel like you're the last line and you're not confident in that you have all the tools and solutions and that you can deliver. That's a tough feeling. For whatever reason, I'm thinking of my home life and remembering, I do all the cooking in my house. As it turns out, I really enjoy cooking. I like providing that for my family, and like something came up, and it's probably a sales thing. I was probably like, oh, I can't get home in time to make dinner, and I remember coming home like late that evening and opening the door, and I smell all the food, and and I forgot how much I love someone else cooking for me, which I just like cooking, but you kind of forget. You're like, oh wow, this feels good when I didn't have to do anything, and there's a plate waiting for me right now. And having that backup is a relief, and it has a lot to do with trust, and having a solid team, I think,
Oh,
is
100%.
absolutely invaluable in any
100%. You couldn't.
circumstance.
That now, later in my life, is so much more important than anything else with where I work. It's weird, funny, the way you change in life, the things that are important versus what are not, and what I thought I was going to be, putting so much importance on, it doesn't even mean anything now. But exactly with what you say, the having a good solid team you can't put a price tag on that. And yeah, if I get an order that comes through and I'm in the middle of doing something, I know that I can shoot off a text message to my whole counter, including my manager, and they'll get running with it. Even if they don't have necessarily the pricing right, they know enough. And the way that I work, and I have little I make a bunch of little like cheat slips now. So if ever I want to like send out branding emails or just a hey, how are you, to like a large scope of people, I can't give you all my secrets, but I save them, and then I just, do a little cut and paste, but then I add in my own personal touch as well. What I've done enough of those that everybody that I work with has copies of them. So they know how to, fill in the blanks when it comes to real basics, generator orders. These are things you have to ask. These are what we have to know so that nobody gets blown up, nobody gets electrocuted. this is what this cable's worth and this is what this cable's worth. So if you're here, this is the one it should be with. Um, so it makes it real easy. And just like what you said, opening that door and that was like the perfect analogy for it. Smelling the food's already made. It's like, okay, we're good. It's like, okay, my order's taken care of. You guys got
Mhm.
this?
Yeah, because sometimes you get back to the branch and you're opening the doors like, oh crap, am I opening it up and it's going to just be absolute chaos and everyone's just running around with their heads cut off? Or do you get there and everything's calm and cool and
Yeah.
like they've got it covered?
It took me about 3 years to get to that point, and we're there now, and things are so smooth. It's wonderful.
So you talk about like having cheat sheets, right? Giving people, I guess you call them expectations or, you know, guidelines to success. How do you do the same thing with your customers? For instance, you have a cheat sheet and you tell the inside staff, "Hey, this cable goes with this if we're going three-phase, single phase, and everything goes." It's like building a Lego set. This block has to go on this block in order to make the fighter jet, right? So they understand what the rules of our engagement. Now with a customer, you would assume that, hey, they know what they're ordering and what they need to have on a job site. And you come in and say, well, just because you've always been doing it this way, this is the struggle that we at Faro have to go through. We have trucks, we have things, we do it our way. And you're like, it's going to cost you this can do it. Like there's a different way to do it. So when you go to a customer humbly and saying, I'm not telling you don't know what you're doing, but you don't know what you're doing. You're ordering something because you've always ordered this, but really what you need at this project is a different a schematic, right? There's different phases of power. So I've got to figure out how, not just by consistently showing up and, hey, we have great conversations. I like you, you like me, but hey, this is what I'm going to do to set expectations or give different things to success to them, to saying, this is how I help you better and we both succeed. How do you incorporate that to your customers?
So I think about what kind of value can I bring? Anywhere that I'm walking onto, I look over their job, see what kind of equipment that they have. Let's take it to like the most basic of rentals when it comes to power is you've got your job trailer and you've got your generator partnered with it, right? So that they can power up their laptops, they can power up the lights, this and that. Let's say that it is a job site that's pretty good size. They have to run through the night to keep the lights on so that that way nobody is coming on the job at night and stealing all, the Joe toolbox, all the hammers, all the drills and stuff like that. That's what I come in at. And let's say I'm talking to Mr. Bob, the superintendent, and he doesn't have time for me. And he's like, look, I don't have much time to do this. Talk to this guy. He'll get your information, yada yada. I talk about their bottom line. That is my direct shot is I talk about their bottom line. How are you guys looking on your bottom line on this project? Where are you at? Which phase are we in? What if I could help you save like $10,000? Like how much better would that make you look? And that always gets their attention. Like, what are you talking about? I've been doing this for 40 years. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. What's your pitch? And that has been, especially with like my batteries, that's my biggest, easiest pitch right now. Is I'm going to show you. I'll bring it out for free for a week. I won't charge you delivery. Let me partner it with the generator that you currently have, and I will show you within 4 or 5 days how I'm going to put this money back in your boss's pocket. And then you guys can do whatever you want with it at that point. I'll either take it back or let's talk about keeping it long term. Stuff like that. That's my quickest, especially like, and if you can make those conversations improve the benefit of what you're saying and that you know what you're talking about, they'll never go anywhere else.
Well, and like you're talking about, so I look at it from a sales aspect, right? You have your elevator pitch, right? And then you have your ride in the elevator. So there's two different things. So when we first launched Faro, right, we had our rental partners, right? What we partner with is the big five, right? Because I came from rental, right? I know the logistics patterns of you calling an order for your customer that needs immediate power, or even on the core side, the customer who orders everything at 4:30 and says, I need it at 6 a.m. because everything's sitting with a bow on it waiting for your phone call kind of thing. Not happening.
Those are the big customers that know they can get away with that
Right.
stuff.
They're just like, well, if you can't get it there, I'm going to call somebody else, right? So we're not really a partner. I get it. So, that's a whole topic for another conversation. It was easy to go and look at, hey, here's our rental company because I know you need it and I know the chaos that you're doing. But when I went into a trailer and I was saying, okay, I want to own a project, right? How do I get the project, the rental company's end user, to be like, oh, I've got different options? So the elevator pitch was to be like, hey guys, 30 seconds. I've got a solution to a problem that is universal to every single job site on the planet. Okay, this guy is making a pretty huge claim here. Let's see. Let's make a liar out of him, right? So that's the hook, right? I have to come in and go, yeah, okay, whatever, guy. Let's see what you got, and then you go right into the elevator ride. How many times have you called a vendor or your warehouse and asked for something because the project's at a standstill because you forgot it, someone broke it, or it was the wrong size? So don't even give me a number. Okay. Because you know what's happening. I'm calling you out. Okay. How fast do you think you can make that solution happen? Under 2 hours? Over 2 hours? They're like, dude, over 2 hours. Great. I go, what if you can get it solved in less than an hour for half the cost? Okay. So now I'm still in the elevator. I'm like, perfect. Here's a solution. Just like DoorDash, just like Uber, when you need a ride to the airport, you can Faro it. What are you talking about? Go to your app, download this, plug in your coordinates, where you want it picked up. And oh, by the way, there's a driver that just got done eating Chick-fil-A in his truck. He's going to swing by the rental company, pick it up, hook it up. Boom. You just got it in 45 minutes for half the cost. Your project's running. Are we good? Good. Less than 2 minutes. And they're like, downloading. But it was to that point where I know more than you. I'm covered. We already have a solution. And why would I change? Because you're just the dude that came in with a vest, a hard hat, and a beard. And I'm like, yeah, man, but I've been you, right? I lived where you're living, and I don't want to do that anymore. Because last time I checked, there's a reason that you're drinking Red Bulls and smoking cigarettes, and it ain't for your health. So why don't we change the narrative a little bit and let me help you? Help me help you. And so when you come into the same thing with your customers, it's like, hey, I've got a solution to a problem either you have, don't know you have, or are in denial.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's tackle one of those three.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I mean, very cut and dry and clear. You're right.
Yeah. But the key is like, how do we leverage some of our resources? And I'm curious, how would you, being a seasoned vet, right? I don't even call it just the industry. I call it in the construction industry. How do you take somebody that comes in brand new in your role you were before you started and going, I'm a 5. I went from a 9 to a 5 and I'm trying to eat the elephant in one bite. Like, what advice would you give them?
You got to take a step back and reassess your situation, reassess what you actually have on your plate. You have opportunities on your plate. If you handle yourself correctly, be humble, allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to get to know the people that you work with, but also who you work for. Sales isn't just me selling to my customer, it's me selling to the people that I work with. And like when you say operations and stuff like that, that was one of the hardest lessons that I needed to learn when I was back with my last business. My last company was, if I make 6 orders in a day and there's 4 other people that work in my branch that also make 6 orders in a day, how are we all supposed to get our equipment out at 7 o'clock in the morning? So if you're not having conversations and learning and truly being involved in the people around you that are on your own team, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to overpromise, which will end up, unless you have Faro, you're going to overpromise and like pitch something to a customer and it never be able to come through if we didn't have these new resources that you're bringing to the table. You know what I mean? Like old school. I'm talking old school, 2005. And it just makes everybody look bad, So you really have to just listen, learn, put yourself in everything that your branch does. Try to take the time to get to know each one of these things that we do. Learn a little bit of operations, get your hands dirty in the shop, learn what it takes with your yard guys. I feel like our yard guys are so underappreciated. Get out there and see what it takes to pull off a demo hammer off the back of a truck, check the oil, turn it on and test it. You know what I mean? And these are just young dudes that are doing this. Figure out what it is to get your hands dirty a little bit. Go to the shop. Let's say that demo hammer breaks down. What's the next step? How do you figure out how to fix it? It goes to a technician. He says it's no good. Then your shop manager has to drop what they're doing, order parts, and it's a whole process. It's not just one direct path of travel.
I would agree with that. It's like figure out how the soup is made.
Yes.
Just
Get
don't
all the
become the chef.
ingredients.
You're not becoming the chef, okay? Stay out of the kitchen, but know the ingredients and how it's made so that you
That's
can
right.
articulate why it's so good and healthy when someone
Yeah.
asks for something to eat.
Figure out what it takes to make everything happen so that you, Mr. Customer, are happy and you want to call us again.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I think in the early days, I wouldn't call it bitter, but at the same time, I was like a little bit jaded. And this was between being the vendor for the customer, right? Because I'm like, I would walk like a job site or I would get to one of my clients and I would get frustrated. I'm like, dude, why do you always call me at the end of the day expecting a miracle? I go, weren't you with yourself all day and you knew you had to dig a hole or you knew you had to put fascia up, right? And I get it. Some people are like, hey, I've got my internal fleet and I got to allocate that first. And then I realize what I don't have available. And then I'll call my rental vendor, partner, whatever you want to call them, and expect them to deliver something at 6. And we see transactions all day long, right? Typical rental company Lisa and I used to working at, we're sending out anywhere from 80 to 100 orders a day, right? Because we were bigger branches, right? So each one of those requires touches, people. It's not just pull it off the shelf, put it in a bag, scan your stuff, and you're out in your car. These aren't Amazon deliveries, okay? But at the same time, we're just like, Mr. Customer, you were with yourself all day. And I guess I was priority number like 106. And now if I don't give you the right answer and or get it back to you in the series of a traffic light, I'm dead to you. Like, dude, are we in this boat together or are you just basically stepping on me when you want to get out of the water and onto the sand? Do you still feel like the industry is that way? Or do you think it's more of a collective, hey, we have partners, we value each other, or is it still kind of old school? Like you're my vendor and the customer's always right.
You know what's that to me really depends on the level of the rental. That's not so much my experience anymore. Um, when it was more transactional, yes, because everybody right now is pushing for the lowest dollar on everything. And it's
Yeah, kind of
hard
before
for
they cared
everyone.
about you a little bit, because when they don't know you, they're like, "Yeah, I could toss this. This is another tool. I'll just toss it around and make it work or find another tool." When they get to know you a little bit, they start like, it's like, you know what? I can be a little bit more considerate. It's like, "Hey, can you do this? I totally get it if you can't, but I'm asking for a miracle, and I know that." And so I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's definitely changed, but that doesn't mean like those situations don't come through, or you get those people that are calling it for. I have this one customer. He's just notorious for he only calls me between 3:30 and 5, and he wants something there the next day at 7 a.m. And I make jokes about it every time that he calls me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's the fire today? Let me guess, you need it right now, or stuff like that. So
Is there a lesson that you find yourself continually learning and relearning?
yeah,
One that you're
humbling
just
myself.
constantly, like, just coming back to say, "Oh, I need to remember that one again," and it's
Yeah,
happened many times.
honestly, it's my own personal just listening, listening, listening. There's so many things going on every day that I get blinders and I get distracted. And one of the biggest things that makes me cringe when I talk about it, because I feel like it's such a big time personal flaw, is actually being present in a situation. Being present and listening and not touching my phone and not writing a note down is hard to do because there's always something happening. But it is so important to, if I'm going to talk to somebody, they need my full attention. I mean, that's even my kids, you know what I mean? I need to make sure when they're talking to me, they tell me though, they're way more, which I love.
"Mommy, listen, look at me, mommy."
Yeah, mom, put your phone down. Like I want crackers right now, but I appreciate that from them because it's as adults, we just become accustomed to it, right? Little kids are like, absolutely not. I wish more people got in my face when they, essentially wanted their crackers. It's like, hey, pay attention to me right now. If I'm giving you my time, it's important too. It's just as valuable as yours. So I need to get better about that.
Oh, check this out. So I'm going to eat crow because I'm going to give myself the advice, but I'm going to take your, if you want to call it a complex, to another level.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. It's one thing to be present, not touching your phone and making eye contact. It's another thing of listening to what someone's saying, not thinking about what you're going to say before they actually finish.
That's good too.
The power of the pause is so huge. I mean, when you're a public speaker and you pause just like I did now, both of you are going, what is he going to say? And that was literally, I just did was like less than a 2-second pause. So when you start basically making content where it lands, first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to everything you say. Now, some people's brains compute information quicker than others, but it's okay to sit back and say, okay, did I hear what she had to say, or am I listening to the lyrics or words that came out of her mouth? And if I'm confused, I'll say, hey, LJ, can you repeat that again? Because I interpreted what you said this way. Is that true? And you're like, no, I actually said it that way. And I'm like, okay. So I'm spending more time trying to process the information that you've given me rather than giving you my feedback before processing. I think that's the true art of being genuinely present in a moment and listening to your audience. So throw that into your complex too and see like, well, I thought I was just trying to control my phone tapping.
That's like the little
Yep.
Super Mario Brothers star where you catch it and just like next level it.
Yeah, seriously. I'm more like Donkey Kong, but I just try to throw it like
No, you're Wreck-It Ralph. Let's be honest.
you're totally Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
funny. I'm curious. So, with a lot of kind of new blood entering the industry, and I'm sure you see a lot of those team members come and sometimes go. Withstanding some of the advice you've already given, so we're not gonna. We know that listening and learning are extremely critical from your point of view. What are the things that you would recommend to someone just starting there? Are there any quick and easy things? Like for me, sometimes like if you can be early at like everything, like by a little bit, that can go a long way. If you can make an effort to follow up with anyone who reaches out to you, within 15 minutes or whatever, that goes a long way. Is there anything that really stands out to you with your industry and someone who's like, all right, this is the field I'm in or I want to get into? What could immediately put me above some of my peers that are in the same position?
You made a really, really good point that resonated with me was just being there, being early, staying for the entire time, maybe even a little bit longer, just so that you have the opportunity to observe the way a day goes. If you're brand new and you don't feel like you necessarily have any way to input anything, I think it is equally to show just how valuable you are or the way that you want to be perceived with your new company is being there, being present, observing, taking things in, maybe taking notes. I think in the first day you should learn people's names. If it's somewhere that you want to invest your time, um, not having to reintroduce yourself to people you're going to be working with for the next couple of years, if that's where you plan on staying, learn their name immediately. Find out who your people are. Yeah, just throw yourself in the middle of everything. Ask if you can help. If the phones are ringing and you know there's two people that are there,
That's a good one.
phone rings.
Be
Well,
willing to just say, hey, how can I help?
how do I get my
Yeah.
hands dirty?
Especially as a very new person like that. In
Yeah.
today's day and age, I feel like that is what that leads right into one of my father's favorite words, which was initiative.
Initiative. Take the initiative. That's exactly. Take the initiative. If there's a pile of contracts and if someone gets a free second to breathe, ask them like, hey, what is this? What's this pile? Oh, we need to file those away. Those are last month's contracts that we just haven't filed yet. I can do that. I got two hands. I know how to alphabetize things. Just make yourself as available in your learning process as possible because that not only are you showing initiative, but you're also going to learn a process that apparently seems to be getting backed up that someone's going to need to address at some point, and you're that person.
Scott, is there anything on your side that Lisa hasn't already touched on that you're like, hey, if someone showed up day one on the job in their first week, they were doing this, this, and this, man, they're going to crush it.
Yeah, I would say, be genuinely curious about the expectations that have been asked of you. What do you need me to accomplish? Right? It's that ability to be comfortable being uncomfortable and vulnerable at the same time. So whoever your direct supervisor are, you know, direct. Hey, what are your expectations for me in this role? And what can I do? What are the top priorities that I can accomplish, low hanging fruit to get us where we need to be? Be very deliberate. And I think being in an environment, and this is the second half, Lisa, that I'm sure some of the managers, or I call them the old guard, right? I'll throw myself in there. Like, you seek as a leader to say, like, okay, do my people feel safe and valued? To be able to come in and say, hey, I'm unclear on my expectations. Could you help me understand this? So the same thing we're talking about, new people coming in. You've been around the industry a long time. We've seen certain types of leaders, and I would say that tongue in cheek. We've seen managers that have been put in leadership roles, and let's call a spade. You're a manager. I haven't seen anything leadership. Or vice versa. We've seen a lot of leaders in non-management positions. So it's not like this linear type of, your job title makes who you are. But what would you say to some of your leadership that you're like, hey, this is what we're seeing, we're feeling, and this is how we're going to elevate the team? Not from a top down, but from, again, leadership. Like, you create the vision, we build the product. You have anybody that you can think that is like, hey, I loved working with this person because they were driving the team to productivity and success. Or, hey, I worked with this one person. I think they had the best intent, but wow, their delivery, it was complete airballs. Like, good heart, terrible delivery. Like, do you still see that, or can you resonate with anybody, not naming names, to where you said, this one was, dude, I'd sign up for that person's team every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And this one, I would probably be an alternate. If they needed me, I'd slide in, but hoping they don't pick me.
Hmm. Yeah, I've had a good share of both in this industry. Um, I think currently,
I wouldn't even say currently. I would just say, think about the one person that you're like, home run. That was awesome. What are like two attributes that you can say that you would classify why that individual or that experience was a home run? Like, what did they do?
they took themselves out of their chair and got in my truck. That was a huge part of it. Was when they had questions about something, it wasn't a shoot me an email and give me at least 3 points to it. Thank you. I need to meet my quota. It was, let me get in your truck. Let's talk about it. Let's do a ride along. They took themselves out of their manager chair and brought their needs to me in a way. I don't mean for that to sound, that kind of sounds kind of lazy, but that's not what I mean in that aspect. It's like they took themselves, it was like, these are the things that I have to meet. These are the quotas as our branch that we need to cover. Putting this now in your hand with me in front of you, let's go for a ride. How do we capture these on a daily basis at your level? And that was just like, "Oh, yeah, dude, let's go, all day. I love it when management takes a step back and it's just not, hey, let me know your 3 top KPIs and I need to know if you have mega projects in your dirt and da 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 da. And then we never talk about it for a month. You know?
So
It's like, what are these?
a good coach that empowered you, not just a manager who delegated their mess to you.
Yeah, essentially, but they empowered me, but also understood what was happening. So as much as I'm telling them, hey, yeah, this is my XYZ thing for you, they also could, because they came into my little world, they knew what those XYZ things were too, because we worked them side by side sometimes. Made themselves personable.
And now you can't use the same one from the backside, because I do want the hey, I'm the alternate. So shelf away the person that sends in emails, because we know what the after effects. But was there any other kind of experience where, like, dude, if you could just get out of your own way, we could be a lot better? Or they do it with just, what are those ones, I wouldn't call them toxic managers, but the ones where, like, dude, you gotta slow your roll a little bit and, like, get in the truck with us. Stop being armchair quarterback.
I just had to check off the things that they needed so they didn't get in trouble. So that they stayed just far enough under the radar. And it was obvious that there was no other intention other than, hey, I just need to make sure that my bonus is taken care of, which is a horrible way to say it. But hey, I need you to do your job so that I keep the monkeys off of my back. Because when they're on my back, then I have to get involved in this and that. And it's like, oh man, you don't care anything about this job. You should be excited. Like, why are the monkeys here in the first place? How did we get to this point? Isn't that something, Mr. Manager, you'd want to know? You know, let's go find out. But no, it's just like, no, take care of it. Ew, no, no.
Yeah, and that could also be a product of even elevated leadership on their end, right? They might be being coached a certain way where it's like it's all about the metrics. Like if we just got to hit this, regardless of, what the outcome is of everybody that's getting us there, we got to do this. And I mean, we're saying this not to pick on anybody, but this is not related to rental. This is again a universal human experience from CEOs to project managers to foremans. It's like if you're not genuinely curious about what's driving your people, their behaviors and their success, dude, you're like part of the problem, not the solution.
100%. I think that's the reason why across the board our working force as just people in the United States has gone down is because people don't care as much as they used to. They don't get involved. They don't talk. They don't share their experiences. And that's huge. That's huge. Like, yeah, of course, we're all here to make a dollar. And that's the reason why it's called a job, right? Is you don't always enjoy what you do, which is why you make a paycheck for it. But if you can like lessen those down and monotonous times and make them feel like, hey, I'm appreciated. I'm a part of a team. That's the whole reason why
Yeah.
I am who I am today.
Or at a minimum, even if you're not in leadership, act like a leader and try and make those around you feel like they're appreciated and feel
Yeah,
like they're part of a team.
exactly. Just you got to change the dynamic of just, hey, yeah, okay, cool. We'll see if, don't be more interested in the people that work for you because we all know it could be different tomorrow. You don't necessarily like, hey, maybe one day I just don't feel like working there anymore. But that turnover comes at a cost, and trying to take the time to find somebody else to try to refill those shoes in the areas that maybe they were the best at. And I'm sure there's areas where they're not as good at, but to take the time to stop to have to rehire constantly, which seems to be the case across the board, just blows my mind. Like longevity in employees is so different than what it was when I could just gone to this industry alone. Like I've been working since I was 15, but it's just so different. People don't do long term. It's like, oh, it's like a tissue box. Like, oh, I didn't like that job. I didn't like that job. Nah, I'm gonna do something different. There's no longevity. And that was something that like I pride myself in the fact that I like being a long term employee. That's something that I'm very proud of. So even if let's say I happen to, leave this position, which I don't plan on, but were to go to somebody else, I'm not going to just invest my time for a year in something if I don't see a future in it. It's so like that's your own personal pride, that you're messing with. And I think a lot of people have lost that ambition, maybe, or that pride that comes with that. It's like,
Yeah, it's the ownership. It's the ownership of their personal brand, and it does start with the culture of the organization. I can speak for myself. I spent 20 years with this one rental company. And in this industry, that's very rare. We call them retreads, right? Or like they jump from switching sales, they go from this rental company to this company, and then back to that back again. So that's what we call a retread. There was one guy, and I'm not gonna mention his name. I was always like, I need to get you a shirt. The front is gonna be like a street tire going, I'm back, and the front's gonna say, where am I? Like, is you're constantly moving, right?
just put Velcro so you can just replace the name on his
Yeah,
jacket.
just like replace them. Like, what company are you at now? What are you at again? But like you're saying, going back to, it's like, number one, we do understand there's toxic environments and there's reasons for leaving. It's not saying that you don't leave for a reason, but that personal brand is saying, hey, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to achieve. And for organizations, JP and I have talked about this on previous podcasts, the 3 R's and the 3 P's. So for organization, your goals on the 3 R's are how to recruit, how to retain, and how to reward. And if you kind of master those things where you have a good mix, then you understand that you have an organization with the 3 P's, which are people, process, and passion.
Did you make that up, Scoot?
Maybe.
I love it.
I think I did in one of my blackout sessions. But those are the things that like I think about, right? When I'm developing our team, right? How do I recruit well?
I want to write that down.
How do I retain them? And then how do I reward them for their effort? And again, repeating, I can only do that when I find people, number one, that could follow a process and have a passion for that process. And I would say anybody, when you're looking at your organization, when you're investing in your people, right? Reflect, listen to them, understand, and see if you can align those letters to go like, is my organization close or am I off target?
That's good. That's good. I really like that pitch a lot. I would like to use it in my next sales meeting if possible.
Totally. Like, I'm
Cool.
not an original person. People tell me things all the time and I just listen and I gravitate. And then if I can see it valuable somewhere else, it comes out of my mouth.
That's good. That's really, really good. I like the way that sounded.
Thanks. Soundbite.
Yep.
All
Bam.
right.
Oh. Well,
Right,
JP, we've been at it for an hour. I told you,
Yeah.
Lisa, like, this is not
Okay, that's
questions and interviews.
fine.
She was all nervous before, and I'm like, LJ, don't worry about it. We're just
I
going to
was
start rattling
so
stuff,
stressed.
and you're going to look up, and it's going to be an hour, and you're like, oh,
Okay.
see?
It's over.
Yeah,
It's
but now
over.
I'm thinking about everything. I'm like, God, did I say the same thing 10 different times? Possibly,
See?
but
That's her thing where she's like, I got to do this. But you know what we're doing? Like I was telling you on the phone. So our podcast is probably going to be pivoting in 2026. We opened it up and we wanted to talk to a lot of people in the industry, construction, whether it was from the contractor to safety to labor to rental. And now we're seeing it's like, because Faro is a niche, logistics solution. We're not trying to do heavy haul in lanes and take your, 46,000 pound excavator on a semi. That's not us. We're your towable generators. We're your pickup trucks. We're your last minute, oh shit handle. I need it delivered right now. That's us. Right. And we stay in our lane, in our niche. And we're thinking about the same thing with the podcast is let's talk to people in our demographic, like rental, that we really heavily service, and saying from the operational excellence to the sales, to the service managers, to the branch managers and people higher up, like what's going on with your business? What does your dispatch board look at like 5:30 in the morning? How do you tell a customer that's going, Lisa, building just went down, right? I need temporary standby power to get us through the night. And then we need to basically spin up in a whole new operation for the next 30 days until we get back online, where you're like, I got you. I'll send 270 kVAs out right now. I've got a vendor partner that can get it there in an hour. We got you covered. Tomorrow morning, I'll get there 8 o'clock. We'll look at a long-term strategy on how we do two 220s, and we put them on standby and then rotate the shifts so we don't burn them up. And we'll be dialed in by 2 o'clock tomorrow. And they're like, done. We want to have conversations like that.
do you guys ever interview any customers?
Yeah.
We've had some
Yeah.
customers on for sure. Yeah.
That would be good to see like the people on the very far receiving end of this and the benefits of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interviewing like your customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
there's
mean-
the people that I can think of. There's been a couple times that I've utilized you guys, and I'm hoping like now that you're getting more, steady in California. Drew's awesome. I'm excited to work with him directly. But yeah, I would say almost on a daily basis, I could utilize you guys. Honestly.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not alone.
Someone-
Like that, your story is not unique. It happens all the time.
Yeah, someone forgot a cable. I dropped off a female tail instead of a male tail.
Mhm.
I mean, just little things like that. And usually I'm the
Yeah,
one that takes
those
care
little
of
like
those.
single swaps that you don't want to send a whole deck trailer out to.
Exactly.
know?
Or it's a situation where, oh crap, I'm the one that goofed up because they had a transformer and transformers.
And yeah, sometimes you get to save your own ass before anybody realizes. that you made a mistake.
Exactly. And so like my truck's going to cost $400 for him to stop what he's doing in the middle of the afternoon and go do it. Or I'm going to throw it in my truck, which then ultimately costs me hours because I'm not selling. Now I'm
Most
delivering
expensive delivery
cables.
driver.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, persistent.
Well, we're getting to the point where we're not going to allow the rental companies the excuse to tell their customers no. We're going to start getting to your end user and then be like, what do you mean you can't get it there until 12 o'clock? Why don't you just Faro it? They're like, oh, well, we have a driver coming back. And you're like, customer's going to be like, dude, I can get it here in an hour. And now you might run into it and be like, all right, well, then you want Faro just to will call it? right? They have another solution where they have to go in and basically book the order. They can do it. They can put on a credit card, or if we have terms with them. But at the same time too, now all of a sudden you're like, well, you're not my partner. They want to call you and just be like, hopefully your counter, not you, because you're not a mobile dispatcher. And just being like, hey, I need this and I need it right now. I don't care what solutions you have in the background. Can you get it here in an hour? Because I don't want to send somebody from the job because they're cleaning something up. And right now, they've been conditioned to be like same day, or hey, we can get it to you at 12 or 1. And the customer's like, okay, well, I guess that's the best that we can do. And they live with it. The next level is when they start calling your location, and your location's like, yeah, you need a 25 kVA, or you need an extra set of tails because they were wrong. Probably have it out there in 45 minutes. They're like, wait, what? Dude, you're crazy. And they're like, no, dude, we got it covered. We execute. Now that customer leaves going, I don't know how they make the soup. I don't know if they have a genie lamp. I don't care. I just call and shit shows up. That's how you insulate yourself from competitors where, dude, they got you on the speed dial, and that's just, they don't think about it. Because you just created solutions for them and made their life better. That's what we're hoping to create and partner with. But at the same time, too, we know the industry is very slow to adopt. We know that there's internal metrics like, oh, reduce outside hauling, bad, taboo, right? Or
The only reason why outside hauling or these people get like that is because they're not captivating the correct dollar amount on the backside. I don't believe in any of that.
well, that's a different conversation when we look at general core and specialty. Your customers are different, right? They spec in stuff, so you can get $500 delivery. General Rentals, like, same product. Can I get $50? No. Oh, okay. 45. You're like, wait a second. I just delivered the same thing from Power, and why was that 500? Different customer segment. But I still see today, and again, there's two sides of every coin. Even when we had the government shutdown, or we have economic stuff, like, let's call it COVID, right? Just look at how many rigs, how many people, how many things that you have sitting. You still had to make those payments. When there's other things out there, you're like, oh, this is our business structure. I mean, even this week, one of our reps in Texas walked into a rental location, and there's 3 trucks sitting, and they're not broke down. Like, they're not being serviced. They're like, dude, we just don't have the rental. Like, there's no volume there. So you're like, okay, so you're paying for that asset to sit there. Those are the types of things I'm like, do you really need to go hire 3 more people? Like, why are we, what? It's like, how about you hire 1 and then sub out the other 2 and then use it when you need it, and then that might be a different structure? Well, we don't do it that way. Okay, well, what do you want to be on, the past or the history? There's two sides of that. Which one do you want to be a part of? So that's what we're trying to create, and that's what the buzz and hype and stuff like that. We want to educate people and add value. That's the Pharaoh plug, JP.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. We don't typically do it, but again, I think sometimes when the conversation's right and the timing's right.
Yeah, no, it's good. You guys definitely do hold a very niche part of things that we need, honestly. Because there's no point in sending a semi truck to deliver cable.
Or you going, hey, LJ, I know you're in Torrance right now trying to sell a big project. Is there any way you can come back to La Mirada and pick up like something that costs $60 and then deliver it to Santa Ana? You're like, oh, so do you want me to stop doing sales calls all day for this? And they're like, well, it is your customer. You're like, no, it's our customer. And like, I think we have other options. Oh, okay. It's like the fact that you have to have that conversation repeatedly. Like, I'm going back to my, manager room. I'm like, can I shake you like forwards and backwards, or do I got to shake your head from the side? Because we talked about this 16 times in the last 4 days. So anyways, now I'm on a soapbox.
Yep. Get off, Scott. Well, great. Lisa, it was really fun chatting with you. It was good to meet
guys
you
too.
and learn a little bit about your experience, your unique understanding of this sometimes crazy industry.
Yes.
And really appreciate you being on and taking the time and hopefully we have you on again sometime in the future.
I would love it.
Yeah, and Lisa, from a personal standpoint, I'm so proud of you. Where you came, and like as a mom, as a professional, as a woman in construction. I mean, I can't be happier being able to work with you in the past and see where you've elevated yourself to. So super proud of you. So good job.
What? Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank
Nice. That praise doesn't come lightly, Lisa.
Oh, thanks. Am I smiling?
I don't
My
say it
cheeks
unless
are
I
hurting.
mean it.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that.
Well, everyone, that is a wrap for today's episode of Beyond the Build. We took away some real valuable lessons and insights, and I hope that you did as well.
If you enjoyed this episode, we would ask that you subscribe so you can never miss an update. If you're a thought leader looking to innovate in the construction industry, let's talk. We'd love to connect and hear your thoughts.
You can find Beyond the Build on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, plus anywhere else that you listen. And if you'd like to learn more about how Faro is changing logistics in the construction industry, please visit our website at faronow.com.
Once again, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, be humble, serve others, and make an impact.